Hello everyone, I am Sarupta Pandey, lecturer of Pakur Polytechnic Pakur, and today I am going to deal with the second chapter of communication skill, that is types of communication. As we have already discussed in the first video, that communication is regarded as the lifeblood of any organization. So we can also say that communication is the nervous system of any organization, because without the help of communication we will not be able to achieve our goals or any objectives whatever our business is having or any organization is having. So that's why communication is regarded as the nervous system of any organization. And communication in any organization may take any form or direction depending upon the structure of the organization. So in this video we will discuss about the types of communication, and we will also discuss about the formal communication and informal communication and what are its advantages and disadvantages. And as it is a very vast chapter, so in the next video we will discuss about the other types of the communication. So communication is divided on the basis of organizational structure and on the basis of method of expression. On the basis of organizational structure, there are two types of communication, that is formal communication and informal communication. Formal communication is again divided into three types, that is vertical communication, horizontal communication, diagonal communication, and further vertical communication is divided into downward communication and upward communication. If we talk about the method of expression, so there are two methods through which we express or through which we communicate, that is verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication, as the name suggests, verbal means it uses any words or alphabets. So there are two types of verbal communication, that is oral communication and written communication. And in non-verbal communication there are two types, that is body language and graph language. So let us talk about the formal communication. So it is a kind of communication which we uh, do in any kind of offices or schools or colleges, and it is formally controlled by the people who occupy the managerial positions in an organization. It ensures that the information flows orderly in a timely and accurate manner because it has a fixed path or fixed channel through which the information flows. And in this kind of communication we are not allowed to deal with any kind of social or personal or any kind of emotional issues. So only work related matters only can be discussed in formal communication. As I earlier said that it has a fixed channel, so it is very much authentic and it is also a time bound. And in formal communication you are not allowed to use any kind of slang, as slang is not permissible in this kind of communication. If we talk about the advantages of formal communication, then it becomes very easy to fix any responsibility to any subordinates for any kind of activities, as it moves whatever the information or any responsibility which is being given, the messages are flow in a fixed channel, so everyone gets the message and everyone get to know whatever the activities is being assigned to any particular subordinates or any worker. With the help of formal communication, a better cooperation and coordination between the employees can be achieved. And formal communication is very much trustworthy, in which we can easily relied upon because it passes through several mediums. So There are many parts of formal communication, that is, reports, circulars, instructions, guidelines, clarification, any kind of agreements. So these are the parts of formal communication, and there is very much minimal chance of information leak. Means to say, there is no any chance of any kind of rumors, spreading of rumors in formal communication. So it is very much trustworthy and we can easily rely upon it. So these are the advantages of formal communication, and it is very important. So most of the time in exams also, the question comes that what do you mean by formal communication and what are its advantages and disadvantages. So here is the notes which you can write. And if we talk about the disadvantages of formal communication, so formal communication is very much time consuming because it passes through several levels. As we have earlier discussed that we are not allowed to discuss about any kind of social issues or emotional issues, so the employees do not feel ease and comfort always in this kind of communication, because only work related matters can be discussed in formal communication. Chances of creating misunderstanding may occur as it passes through different levels of authorities. Means to say that in whatever the channel is being fixed, in that channel the information is flowing through the very higher post to the very lower post. So there is a very much chance of misunderstanding may occur whatever the information is passed, as because of the literacy level also. And as it is having a fixed channel, so the message, whatever the message is being passed, so it flows through different channels. That's why it is not suitable for motivation. This sort of communication maintains formalities of communication for which it involves more cost. So it is very much costly, because in formal communication we use pen and paper, or we use laptop or internet connections, or any kind of licensed version software. So it is very much costly, which is not in the case of informal communication. So later on we will discuss after this slide about the informal communication. And it is a rigid form of communication, as no any changes can be made easily whenever it is required, because whatever the changes will be done either from the very uppermost uh, person who is in transmitting the message, or from the very lowermost person who is transmitting the message to the upper person. So any kind of changes, if it is required, so it can be done through these two levels. So now moving to the informal communication. So informal communication and grapevine communication both are same term. As the term informal is very much common to us, so in examination it is very rare that the question comes that what do you mean by informal communication. So generally it comes that what do you mean by grapevine communication and what are its advantages and disadvantages. Or it may, or question may ask that what is the difference between formal communication and grapevine communication. In that case you are having the notes of both the slides, so you can easily differentiate it. So informal communication is a kind of communication which we do with our friend circle, or with any blood relations, or we also do with our co-workers. As the name suggests, informal means it is not a formal communication, so it doesn't have any kind of fixed path. So whatever the information is being passed, it moves freely in all directions, and it is also known as grapevine communication. So when it doesn't have any kind of fixed path, So you can term it as structureless or unofficial, or you can also say it is a kind of unplanned communication, and it moves very fast because the information can be flow anywhere in any direction because it doesn't have any fixed channel. And informal communication is associated with gossip and rumor. And rumor is a kind of informal communication which spreads like a fire because it is informal. And generally, most of the times, informal communication is oral. No, you will not get any informal communication in written form, and it can begin anywhere and at any time. So there are basic few four types of informal communication or grapevine communication. The first one is single strand. So as the name suggests, single strand means the information flows in a single line. So here is, suppose in this figure, A is a person or A is the sender who is transmitting the information to B. Then the same message is being transmitted to C by B, and again it moves further and it's kept moving so on. So it follows a single chain. The next is gossip will. So as the name suggests, will means to say that it will be in circular form. So in this kind of communication or in this communication network, the sender stays always stays in the middle of the communication or the system because the sender plays the main role here, and the sender transmits the information to all other persons. As here you can see that A is the sender and A is sending information to B, then C, D, E, F, G, H, and so on. So and it makes a kind of a circular path. That's why the name has been given gossip will. The next is probability chain. And probability network is a kind of network in which the information passed randomly to the two other persons. The source of information for each of the person who is getting the message is always different. So in this case, suppose A is the sender and the source of the message, he transmit the message to B. Then again B becomes the sender and the source of the message, and B is transmitting the message to the F. Then again F is the sender and F transmit the message to G. So in this case we can see that the source of the information for each of the person who is receiving the message is different. So that's why the name is given probability chain. The fourth one is cluster chain. So in this type of chain or in this kind of network, the whoever is the sender always sends the message to a selected person or selected individual whom he trusts. So we can say that the sender passes the information to his trustworthy individual. As like A is sending any information to E, then A is also sending to any information to F, means to say that A has that have trust on E and F. Then again F transmits the same information to G because F is having trust on G that he will not leak out the message. So whatever the information is being given is given to someone in which he the sender trust. So the information is passed only to the trustworthy person in this kind of cluster chain. Now what are the advantages of informal communication? So under the informal system of communication, the employees can disclose their needs or sentiments or emotions to other authority or with the co-workers without any hesitation, because the main thing is that it doesn't have any fixed path or any fixed channel. And as it doesn't have any fixed channel, so the information can moves very fast, especially misinformation and rumor spread rapidly to others in the organization, as just now I said that rumors spread like a fire. And the third point is it can provide accurate information feedback to the management, and it may provide an accurate information or feedback to the management. If management wants to get a rapid feedback, then management has to follow the informal communication, because informal communication, again there will be fixed path, so messages or information whatever is being transmitted will follow the channel. And as rumors spread like a fire, so it can damage the image of the organization also, and it can spoil the discipline of any organization. So these are the disadvantages of grapevine communication, and it is very much necessary to find the source from where the rumor is spread, and it is a no doubt very tough job to find out the source, because from there only it can be stopped. And it is very necessary for any organization to find out the source and to stop the rumor which is being transmitted for the organization, as it can spoil the discipline and as well as the image of the organization also. The second point is it creates the opportunity to develop misunderstanding, and just because of any kind of rumor or any kind of misinformation or which is not correct, it can create the opportunity to develop any kind of misunderstanding, because in informal communication just we saw that the sources of the information always get changes, and it can spread rumors or incorrect news about the organization. So just now we have discussed. So in the other video we will discuss about the other parts of the types of the communication. So thank you very much. We'll meet in the different section. Thank you.